Good afternoon, everybody, or depending on where you are in the world, good morning or good evening, and welcome to the Real Leather Stay Different Graduate Fashion Foundation webinar, Unleash Your Potential in Sustainable Fashion. I am Mike Adler, Fashion Director and Celebrity Stylist, as well as one of the team judges for this year's International Student Design Competition and your host for this event. This incredible webinar, brought to you by our new partnership with the Graduate Fashion Foundation, provides you with the opportunity to delve into the possibilities of entering the prestigious Real Leather Stay Different Student Design Competition. Last year, the competition globally received over 2,000 entries from 40 countries and more than 130 institutions. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, Real Leather Stay Different is an international campaign that has reached over 300 million people and hundreds of thousands of students. It encourages us to make the best use of society's waste before using more resources. And in our case, this is about cattle hides, which, as the byproduct of the dairy and meat industries, are thrown away in their millions every year. Quite simply, flexible and durable, biodegradable and sustainable, leather is part of the natural response to fast fashion. The Real Leather Stay Different competition was created to showcase the next generation of global design talent. It champions slow style, not fast fashion, through the use of long-lasting, natural leather products. We challenge entrants to design a single piece of apparel, accessory, or footwear, using where possible natural materials and 50% or more authentic cattle leather. Shortlisted competition finalists will have the chance to see their designs professionally brought to life and showcased at an exclusive global final event in Milan, the fashion capital of Europe. Alongside myself, distinguished fashion industry experts, including Christopher Koerber from Hugo Boss, Carlo Capasa, President of the Italian Chamber of Fashion, and Leanne, Elliot Young, and Cattytay from the Institute of Digital Fashion will judge the finalists. Right, housekeeping is over. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our special guest speakers. Adrien Yakimov Roberts of the Graduate Fashion Foundation, last year's UK overall student design competition winner Anna Melegh, who now works at super shoe brand Christian Louboutin, and Real Leather Stay Different project coordinator Paris Campbell.
In what order should we start talking?
Adrien, take it away.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was waiting for something. Okay, so my part of this talk today is going to be about portfolio. So this can apply to your graduate portfolio, or it might be also to help you entering this great competition. So this is just going to be some advice to give you about building your digital portfolio, or it could be about your digital entry for this amazing opportunity to win a prize and come to Milan, fashion capital. That would be great, and I hope to see you there, because I live in Rome and Milan, so I'll be seeing you all there. So let's get started. I have a presentation. It's really long, but I'm going to try and keep it quite short, and maybe I'll involve some discussion as well on the way. But it's quite important for me that people learn to present their work in a very correct and informative manner digitally, rather than just scanning in a portfolio. Hopefully you can all see now my first slide, which is building a digital fashion portfolio. Thumbs up if you can see it, then I know I can go ahead. Thank you very much, guys. And this is actually a shot from Graduate Fashion Week from many years ago in London, when we used to have portfolios, and then we had the first laptops appearing. So we used to have the lovely portfolios would go through and laptops started appearing, but it was very much about scanning in your portfolio and then saying it was a digital portfolio. But I think we have moved on. So let's start from the beginning. Why are you building a portfolio? Well, you're there to present your skills and your knowledge, to demonstrate your design processes, the methodology, your individuality, which can be part of your interest, the market sector, and your points of view, and your taste level. Those are also things that you'll be putting into your competition entry. So think about why are you doing it, and that'll help you to explain it all digitally. So remember, you're not promoting a product, you're promoting your services as a designer. Think about how you design and how to explain that. I'm using the word build because often when we're building a portfolio, we have all the work done. So it's about putting your work together in a way that corresponds to a digital world that we can understand your strengths and your what you're great at in the best manner. So designing your page, include as many elements of your project in order to communicate the skills and methodology used. Now, there are no hard and set rules. This is not a rule book. This is just my opinion on how to communicate your work really well and how to be really effective and show that also those skills. Having digital communication skills are also really important to our industry, how to communicate effectively and quite quickly. That's super important. Quickly, why quickly? Well, I see thousands of students' portfolios every year. So I would say 7 seconds is about how much time people will look at your work. So you have to be really effective and understand how quickly people will look. Think about your own relationship on social media, how quickly we look through our phones, super quick. That's how people look at your portfolios now. So there we have to make sure that every page counts. Emptiness digitally is emptiness. So obviously, if you have a paper portfolio and you're folding pages, you might have a nice white page. That's meaningless digitally. So think how to be communicating really well with an awareness of those skills that you need. Often when you're interviewing, you'll be asked to create a mini project, or if you're doing a competition like this, they'll want just a few slides. So knowing how to concise all that information easily and make it easily to read for the judges is super important. So a lot of the work you've already done, hopefully you've got amazing sketchbooks, research books, or workbooks, whatever they're called. Hopefully you've got all that great information ready to go. That will all be recorded. It's so easy now to photograph everything you do, all your 3D experimentation, super easy. Collect all that together, but don't leave out the wonderful sketchbook. I love sketchbooks. I could show you thousands, but I just love going through old-fashioned sketchbooks, feeling the paper, the textures, the way students have been working. It's always exciting. Don't forget to include some of those because it's exciting, and show how you've researched and developed ideas. Really good. Books, remember those? Mention books. Anything you've referred to could be really good, not just things downloaded from the internet. We love books, really good part of research. This student of mine, I hope you can see that whole screen, obviously put some books on and laid all the work out and then photographed it from above. And it looks super interesting. So we can see all the books and the way they've worked together to explore the whole story. Whoops, next slide. There we are. There we go. See the book. So the idea is show design methodology, what you've researched and then how you've taken it into 3D, how you've designed with it. Images from sketchbooks. So we can see that research and response, which is totally important, and explain that storytelling of your methodology. Again, if you're using collage, explain how that collage has been developed into a design. Very obviously here, we can see research, quick sketch, 3D experimentation, and design. Put this information into your portfolio because you're trying to tell a narrative of the way you've been working. A student of mine, great page. However, the bit about his research and experimentation has got a little bit small and pushed up. So although it's a beautiful embedded information, that information has been a bit sort of pushed up to the top. We can't see the full narrative really clearly. Again, here another student has opened the sketchbooks. Wonderful, but I kind of like to see a little bit more of that sketchbook, but it's a beautifully designed page. So first impressions count. We all communicate in different ways. Don't just you put your name on the first page. Think about who you are, what you want to communicate with your name. So it's your name, title of what you're doing, and also communicate something of your journey as well. So the first page has to entice us to get into what you're working on. A quick tip, basics, perspectives. If you've got figures, make sure the figures work on the page rather than having small figures looking at the bottom. Think about perspective. Think about how you're laying out the page. We're often talking about landscape, not portrait, because landscape is the way we see things, except if it's on our telephone. And also, we often read from left to right in most countries. So think about who's seeing your work and who's reading it, and make sure we can read that page in that manner. Although you can break the rules, you can design circular around your page. Here we see a bit of materials, a bit of research and 3D experimentation, but it works around the page instead. Most important thing to take away from this chat today would be the narrative and the storytelling and integrated on the page. I don't know how you guys feel, but I love a page where it has a complete story. So we can see a bit of research, a bit of experimentation. We can see the fabrics 3D. We can even see the finished model and also experimentation on the model. That has a great narrative, and that communicates to whoever's looking at it what your ideas are about. So you probably have all that information, but once upon a time, we used to spread it all out. We used to have the page of technical drawings, a page of fabrics, a board of fabrics even, and separate things out. I kind of think digitally, it doesn't really work for me that way. So I like to integrate is the key word. So here we are. I'm just going to give you other examples of integration of images of students' work. And also, if you've created fabrics or experimented with fabrics, show those fabrics. I mean, photograph them up close. It's very enticing to look at images like that when students have experimented with fabrics. And also the way you've experimented in your sketchbooks, that's super exciting to look at. Here we can see a student who's given us ideas of how they developed the knitwear from really extensive experimentation and explaining technically how they've done it, and also the finished good, which I really like. If this page is missing something, it's got so much technical, it's missing a beautiful illustration to balance that out. So we've got the technical and the pure creative, but lovely work to see all that technical information of how that knit is actually created. And if you design a print, put the print full size as well, so we can see the size of the print and how you've actually designed the print and what research you did. So you designed that print. Designing the page, make sure each page for each project, or in this case, this contest, would have the same visual handwriting, the same kind of background, the same kind of use, and hopefully the same font. I hate it when students give me thousands of different fonts. I know fonts are free, but best to stick to one that describes your project and it keeps it easy to read. This student of mine made the mistake here. I mean, the figures at the bottom make them look small, but he also made every page in the same rhythm. Beautiful work, beautifully explained, great sketches, but they're all the same. And he could have done that, just switch things around sometimes. So if you think you've got a rhythm going of how you're displaying your work, sometimes switch it up, because that'll help to jerk the eye. Our eyes like to be stimulated. So if we keep doing the same thing, the same rhythm again and again, we kind of get a bit bored looking at it. And when you're looking at so much work, as judges do, or if you're entering to a competition or entering into a university with your portfolio to study further, you want to stimulate that viewer's eye. Don't forget sketching. Sketching is super important. Sketching is a skill that people look to employ you with. Those quick sketches can explain more than a beautiful illustration. So this is a beautiful illustration on the left, but those quick sketches are very giving us so much more information, although they're not always perfect. So I like the imperfection of a quick sketch that technically can explain something. And also, if you're doing quirky drawings in your sketchbooks, don't lose that skill. That adds character to your work. Again, work getting things from your sketchbook and bringing it through and showing us the ideas how you've been developing them is super interesting. Don't always draw things flat. Try and draw things slight on. That's really tricky. But we always do that with accessories. The best way to design accessories, so we show the volume of things, super important. Same for shoes, go beyond the full frontal. That's quite a big statement. Again, black and white sketches really good for accessory design if you're entering accessory design, and if you're developing accessory products, black and white is great because they can develop the color. I have to say, accessory designers don't often choose the color palette when they work for companies. That might have come from above. So be aware that black and white sketches for accessories are super important, and then you can show different color variations. Designers, like architects, have to design the inside. So architects design the inside of buildings. Don't forget about designing the inside of a garment sometimes. We want to see how the pockets are made, the construction. I love to see a sketch like this of the inside of a jacket. Super interesting. And also technical drawings and text sheets can be really interesting. And think about different ways of drawing your technical drawings to make them really informative. I particularly like this sheet that's from Graduate Fashion Week from years ago. And their student showed us how they laid out the pattern pieces and how things were cut, and then put this really great collage of what the garment looked like afterwards, very colorful. So showing two sides of their skills. So a really impactful page, showing the technical element and also the very spontaneous, beautiful illustration. And here a similar thing from another student, showing us the technicality and also an illustration at the same time. Once upon a time, we had beautiful portfolios at Graduate Fashion Week. That was a wooden box that was once presented many years ago, and you could turn the pages and fall in love with the whole smell of the wood. Same with the beautiful sketchbooks. But how do we make that emotional connection when we're living in this digital world? We've just been through a pandemic where we only had this. So we've got to think about ways and be smart digitally and how to make that connection. So I would say, be bold with your fabrics and your experimentations. If you look at this image just for 1 second, you kind of know what those little loops feel like. Your fingers want to explore, and you know it's going to be soft and fluffy. So you can entice people by looking at details of your work, and that creates an emotional connection. And there are many ways to create emotional connections. Again, looking closely at fabric, show somebody actually touching something you've created can actually be better than just a drawing, because we can relate to that as human beings. And although we're missing the sense of touch here, we can appreciate what that would feel like because our minds will do the rest for us. Again, you know what that feels like. You know what it's going to touch, what the touch is going to be like. So think about that. Here we see tie-dye. We've seen it around a lot, but this student put in a little bit of research, or their starting point, when they looked at tie-dyeing, and they were tie-dyeing velvet, I think, for accessories. But that image was very powerful. So making an emotional connection between your research and your work, so it's not just yet again tie-dye, for example, can be pretty powerful. It's well-known knowledge. I hate mood boards. People overuse mood boards. I can see portfolios, 17 pages of mood boards before I see one sketch by hand or digital sketch. It's very boring. I call it death by Pinterest. Think before you download lots of images from the portfolios and put it in your work and think you've done something. There's actually no job for somebody who just downloads images. It's got to be original. So also, don't put other people's work in your portfolio as your inspiration. That's plagiarism. Make it your own. Thank you, Paris is nodding away. Just keep nodding, Paris. Thank you so much. Because we want to see your own work. And you put in Alexander McQueen and your work next to it. Who's going to win? So make it your own. Make it original. Create your own mood boards. Collect objects, just things you have lying around that describe shape, form, color, texture. You can create your own mood boards if you were that strongly passionate about it. Think about how you can show more about yourself and your own work rather than just other people's images downloaded. As I mentioned before, font and texture of paper you can scan in can also give different ideas of the mood. Try and talk about research and research methods and not inspiration. I'm kind of allergic to that word too. I've got lots of allergies when it comes to portfolios. The text and the font and the paper can be super interesting. We know all those elements there, the sticky tape, the wax seal. Those elements also are creating mood for us without creating a mood boards. If you're doing a lot of writing, remember 7 seconds, how much is someone going to read? So keep the writing on your portfolios or your contest work you're sending in down to a minimum, so your work is talking for itself. Okay, almost finished. Integrating pages, putting pages that we can read, and looking at interesting subject area. This student was looking at hairy, large men. Great way to do your research, something original, and also you come out with a page that's more appealing because it's something else other than just looking at the usual kind of portfolios. Another student's work, very nice, but kind of it's missing fabrics, so not enough information there integrated. Anyway, I think I'm almost over. Here are my top tips. Demonstrate your skills, create a narrative, show research and development, include sketches, integrate everything, so have the whole story on a page, make it readable, easy for someone to read it, be original, edit your work all the time. So what does that mean? I advise students, the biggest question will always be, how big should my portfolio be, or how much work do I send in? Make a huge portfolio of everything, and then every time edit it for a certain job or for a certain goal. If you're applying for accessories, put your accessory work at the front and then show some other work. If you're applying for, I don't know, a fabric embroidery job, put that at the front and then show some other work. Edit your portfolio every time for every experience. Compress the images so it's easy to open. You don't want that thing spinning around. And review and revise always your portfolio. Just look at it every week or every day and think, how can I improve this and make this better? Okay, those are top tips about CV writing, which isn't probably need to talk about here. And that's more about CV writing, and that's more about me where I'm working, which you also don't need. So I can leave this moment, if I can remember how to do this. Yeah, okay, now you're gonna get my screen. How do I get off this now? Okay, oh, your screen share. Yes, I can do it now. Stop screen. Okay, there we go. Woo, that was a marathon.
Well done. Thank you, Adrien, for a valuable insight into the life post-graduation, covering career development and how to build a digital fashion portfolio. I wish I had you around when I was at uni.
You know, I wish I had that too. That's why I do it, because I have no help.
Brilliant. Next up, we have Anna Melegh. Last year's UK overall winner and the footwear category winner for the International Student Design Competition. Anna, do tell us, what advice would you give to upcoming designers looking to enter into this year's student design competitions?
So thank you, Mike. It's quite hard after Adrien's presentation to say something new, but I think my point of view is on to bring your own perspective into the competition. Also very important to answer the brief, because I think a lot of students miss an opportunity because they don't read what's exactly required in the competition. Obviously, most important to use at least 50% calf leather in the design. And also, I think to answer or create something new, bring a new perspective and not just make something that's already exists. And, just to make some pretty shoes, then you need to answer why you made what you're doing. So I think that's one bit of advice I can give on this question.
Yeah, I agree. And also tying in with both what Adrien and Anna have said, try to do something specifically unique to this competition. We do see a lot of amazing entries, but it's the ones that really get this brief that we really pay attention to. I believe last year we also had video entries as well, which became part of the digital portfolio. That gives us a lot of insight into your personality, as Adrien was saying, the reasons why you're doing things, and obviously, as Anna is saying, specifically why it is specific to this particular competition and not just your graduate fashion collection. So, Anna, again, how has the competition helped you in your professional career? It's lovely to see you flourishing at one of the biggest fashion houses, of course, Louboutin. Please tell us.
So I think it was definitely a good, how should I say, experience, because it was a really mood booster. It's funny, I applied for the competition the year after as well, and I haven't got anywhere in that one. So now I got the email that I got, UK footwear, UK overall international footwear. That was like, oh my God, how did that happen? So I think the biggest takeaway from the competition is really feeling great about my work and myself, and obviously getting really, really good connections in the industry and having a really good something on the CV, that I can be proud of. And then, yeah, getting into Cushion Louboutin is a great start from my, after finishing uni. And at the moment, I'm working on the aftercare side, but I'm hoping to get into the design at some point. So learning this side of the company and the shoes, but hopefully in the future. Yeah.
We're definitely behind you with that one. We love your design.
Thank you.
It would also be great to know why you think it's crucial for young professionals and students to focus on sustainability and opt for long-lasting materials like leather. I guess I could say, how does it contribute to a more sustainable and responsible fashion industry?
So obviously, fast fashion became really a giant and taking over, polluting everywhere, where we know exactly it's just such high speed that it's not necessary. And I think as designers, we need to answer tomorrow's questions and issues and try to solve those problems as well. So I think it's great to, even at universities, trying to look into these problems and trying to find solutions and potentially get into the industry with this kind of mindset, and obviously showing to future employees that we're thinking and we want to solve these problems.
Yeah, and also if I could add in another little bit of advice to people that are watching, following on from what you're saying, I think it's also really valuable to think about the alternatives that are available, not just with calf leather, but also other parts of your design that could be made more sustainable. It will really push your application further in front of us, as opposed to the latter. Thank you, Anna. That's incredible. I hope that those watching got a great sense of what it means to be in the competition and the amazing opportunities that it provides, as well as how to navigate their way through the process. Speaking of competition navigation, we do have Paris Campbell, our in-house expert on all things Real Leather, Stay Different, as she manages the campaign on behalf of the Leather and Hide Council of America. She is also with us today and is here to talk to us through the sign-up process via our new platform. Paris, please take it away.
Okay, hello everybody, and thank you, Mike, for the introduction. On behalf of the Leather and Hide Council of America, it's key that for those of you who are not as informed on why leather is sustainable, we highlight that it makes use of a material, hides as a result of the meat and dairy industries, as Mike said, that would otherwise end up as waste. When sent to landfill, this creates more carbon emissions whilst they decay, but if they're used, every hide reduces our dependence on synthetics, which today make up 60% of the material used in clothing globally. Cutting not only CO2 wastes, but the impacts of microfibers and the challenges we face in disposing of the 140 billion items of clothing manufactured each year. Finally, and this is the most important point, leather lasts a lifetime. Just one well-made leather item breaks the fast fashion cycle, outlasting its challengers many times over, and challenging us to slow down in our consumption and think of the planet. Our mission is to showcase the beauty, durability, and sustainability of leather with original and innovative designs, and in doing so, cut waste, reduce the use of petroleum-based synthetics, and disrupt the fast fashion cycle. Real Leather, Stay Different invites designers worldwide to showcase their talent by entering one of our design competitions. With that being said, I'm pleased to present to you our new competition platform, rlsd.internationaldesignComp.com, in collaboration with our established partners ArtSthread. This platform will host our expanding range of student design competitions and our newly announced African Leather Talent Design Showcase, a collaborative initiative between LNHCA and the African Leather and Leather Products Institute, otherwise known as ALPI. Right, I'll just share my screen and then I'll be able to take you guys through our new platform. There we go. Hopefully everyone can see this. Again, thumbs up if everyone can see. Perfect. So as you can see, this is our homepage. If you scroll through this, we've got a lot of key information about Real Leather Stay Different, again, what our mission is, and the amount of competitions that we host. So here, our click-throughs for 7 of our competitions. Scroll through, and at the moment, our Taiwan competition is now closed, so you can see all of the key shortlisted designs. Through that, we also include latest news about sustainability, leather, what we're doing at the moment. Here you can see our international finalists from last year, Gal, who was our winner. And you can kind of click through to that, see different bits of information, which is amazing. And also all of our previous winners. Anna will also be in there if you click through. And then if we scroll up, I just want to show you what it would look like on a competition page and how you would kind of enter. So if you go to your competitions, we use the international competition as an example. Here you'll find everything that you need to know about the competition. And as Anna rightfully said, it's always key that you should look at the brief and know exactly what we're expecting to see from you. So here you can see the drop downs. We let you know exactly what you need to do. So for example, we look for a brief summary of your project provided in English for the international design. That's purely because we don't want you to be limited in any way. Obviously, all of our judges are very good at English speaking. So we want to make sure that everything is as clear as possible and you have the best chance as possible to be a finalist in our international competition. And one thing is worth saying, whilst we have loads of regional competitions, anyone that enters the regional competition is automatically entered into the international competition, which means you have 2 chances of becoming a finalist and a potential overall winner. Now, moving on, keeping with the brief, more things to note is that storyboards and design inspiration is also key. Adrien went through an amazing bit of insight in regards to how you can do your portfolio and what we should include. Sketches, flats, technical specifications, and of course your final design, as well as Mike said, a short 2-minute video to introduce yourself, your design. This is obviously optional, but it's really, really encouraged because it lets us get to know you a bit better, gives us a bit of personality, which we're always looking for. So please do bear that in mind. Now, the biggest thing to also note, as Anna said, for any of our competitions, it's key that you use at least 50% cattle hide leather. Now, that is the whole point of this. You know, we really want to push the fact that leather is a sustainable material, and we really want you to kind of use that. So please do make sure anything you enter is at least 50%. Now, the biggest thing is also noting that we only require a single entry. So you don't have to do a big collection. Please just find one piece that you think is amazing, that stands out above the rest, that we will be really interested to see. Now, other things that you'll find on our landing page is information about the prizes. And as Mike said, our overall winner for each of the regional competitions will be able to come to Milan, the fashion capital of Europe, to be able to take part in kind of a massive award ceremony. It's a big event. We've got amazing people in the industry that will be there. So it's a brilliant opportunity. And of course, there's other prizes as well, but please take a look. So other things also worth mentioning that you'll find on our page is a brilliant summary of entry requirements and how to apply, the judging process, and terms and conditions, which are also always very important. Please do make sure you read those, and anything you enter is in line with the competition guidelines. So just kind of having a look at how to apply. Here we have a brilliant breakdown of a step-by-step guide, which you can go to. Now, if I clicked this, it would take me to a similar page like this. And it's just worth noting that here really clearly outlines what you need to do in regards to registration, creating an account, as well as activating your account, setting up a personal profile, which I'll show you shortly, as well as submitting your entry. So if I just go back to this page, I will show you what would happen once you've signed in, you've created an account, you would end up at a page similar to this. Excuse the image, not the best, but here we go. So here you can kind of reset your password, all the usual things you'd be able to do. We've clearly got kind of all the information you need, making sure you upload a suitable image. And then here you would have any kind of information about yourself. So you can add in your name, your last name, your key areas of study, which is kind of any design specialism. So for Anna, it would definitely be footwear in there. So pick anything that's super suitable. Also tell us where you live. Now, key things like this, it's worth noting that this isn't public. So don't worry, things like your gender, your date of birth, your nationality will not be live on the site. And I can show you an example shortly, just in case anyone is worried, because we do get that. Other things to kind of include is a little bit about yourself, which is always amazing. Any opportunity you get, make sure you put as much about you as possible. And then, of course, any social media links, which again is a brilliant way to see any further kind of work that you've got that may not be the most suitable to the competition. But in case you get any kind of industry person or somebody looking at your account, it's brilliant to add that extra bit there. So please do add in any social links where you can. So just for an example of what this would look like, I'll go here and we can check entries and profiles of people that have entered for this year. So current 2023 profiles, you can see profiles such as this. We'll keep scrolling through. So for example, Madeline Sumner, I don't know if you're watching this today, but you've made an appearance. So here she's put a brilliant bit of bio about herself, as well as linking to her website, her Instagram and her LinkedIn. So people can easily come here, click on anything and get directly to their URL. So now here we can see all of Madeline's designs, which is amazing, gives us more info about her, and anyone wanting to know more can see all of her amazing work. And then we'll go to how to create an entry, apologies. So if you come back to your profile, here you'll see another tab that says Edit Entry. Now this is a very simple process, but if there are any questions, I'll let you know who to go to shortly. So here I've got my name, obviously where I'm based, and then I can put my project title. So I'll keep putting test just for an example here, but of course, if that's the name of your profile, do that. If it's not, don't put test. So if you move through, you can then upload any kind of cover image. So this is the first image you'll see on your entry page. So for example, these are what people have selected as their cover images, which are amazing, so beautiful. Make sure it's the best one for you. But of course, there's other ones you can click through. So uploading any assets. If you want to remove anything, then you can obviously do so by just clicking the X. So very simple. And then you put a little bit about your entry. Keep adding as many images as possible. I'd say the more the better. There's no limit here. And then, of course, the biggest things are making sure you select which category you're in. Ideally, this would be accessories, apparel, or footwear. And then order and profile. This can just be ignored for now. But basically, the idea is that throughout the years, if you wanted to enter even more competitions, if you're still a student, then you'll be able to have multiple entries on your profile, which will be amazing. And you can select which one this kind of sits at. So is it at the top of your profile? Is it at the bottom? That's basically up to you. And then the biggest thing of all is making sure you select the relevant competition. So at the moment, you can see what we have live. Taiwan has obviously closed, so that's not going to be able to be selected. But we have Philippines, the Nordic region, China mainland, Africa, UK, and our international competition. So you just select one, you'd save. Of course, I've already submitted my test entry, but that would not be blocked out. You'd simply press submit entry, and that will go to the back end where our judges can obviously review your designs. So just to take you through what these entries look like, this is what they come up as. Very incredible. Also has the student's profile there. So you can click the imagery, comes up and you can see that beautifully. So that's kind of it from me. I think in terms of just making sure you guys know where you need to go to, just make sure that you kind of contact, I think we have info@chooserealleather.com, which is the best contact to go to for any queries about the competition or the platform itself. And that will be on the landing page as shown earlier. But that's it from me. Mike, please do take away.
So that is info@chooserealleather.com for any questions that you may have. And really, guys, it is a fantastic opportunity outside of the competition. As you can see, we have Anna who is with us today, so it does open up a lot of doors. And we also have our winner, Gal, who has some exciting projects coming up with actually one of the Real Leather Stay Different sponsors. So that's very exciting as well. More to hear about that in the future. Thank you, Paris, for taking us through the sign-up process step by step. I would also like to take this opportunity to open the floor for any questions. Now, down the bottom, you will see a chat function. Send them in and we will quickly review and answer what we can. We've got about 10 minutes here. Let's just jump down to Q&A. Anyone want to drop something into the Q&A at the bottom? Now is your chance. Questions. We'll give it a few minutes and see if anyone has any questions. Please open the Q&A function in the bottom of your screen and type some questions in for us.
We need some music at this point.
Or we
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing, but we need some music.
Yes. Or any last advice from anyone? Anything we didn't get to cover that we'd want to say? I feel like Adrien is full of all sorts of knowledge.
I want to ask you, Paris. So my Italian students, they will be entering international, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
So,
fine. Yeah. We have the three categories, apparel, footwear, and accessories. And accessories can be anything, small leather goods, everything.
Absolutely anything.
I just want to share something with everybody here. For fashion, luxury fashion industry, as we all know, the big brands, between 75 and 95% of their revenue are from bags, shoes, and small leather goods. A luxury brand is lucky if they make 12% of their revenue from garments. So if you want a career in the fashion industry, luxury fashion industry, stop putting accessories, bags, and shoes in your portfolios, because those are where the jobs are. So just saying, design in leather will get you probably a career.
I have a few questions here. Adrien, one of them is directed to you from Stephen. I'm going to double barrel this, so I'm going to include something else. So Stephen wants to know what your students' attitude to using leather is, and I would also like to add in what proportion of your students do already come to you with leather collections or parts of leather in their collection.
Okay, for me, where I work at Accademia Costume e Moda, I would say 100% of our students do work in leather because they come precisely to us, even on undergraduate course, because we have accessory design and undergraduate. And we also have master's students working in leather with brands such as Ferragamo, Fendi, because we do all the projects with them. So 100%. But it's a personal choice. If I have a student who arrives and says, no, I don't want to work in leather, we would have to discuss something and find those alternatives, or the students will find alternatives. So it's not, I would say, compulsory, but so far 100% students want to work in leather, and we discuss what is sustainable leather, and we work with tanneries as everybody does, and we do sustainable projects. So yeah, positive attitude to working in leather because it is a byproduct. If you're not going to eat animals, I understand you're not going to wear them either. I completely get that. But currently, it's a personal choice.
Oh, actually, I don't eat beef, specifically beef, lamb, red meats. I do wear leather because I do know that I visit the tanneries and I do see the sustainability ratings, and I do work with the designers that bring everything back to zero. I find that personally, yes, you're right, it is a personal choice, but it is from landfill. I have yet to meet a leather manufacturer or a tannery that will have any part of their leather coming from an animal specifically for the fashion industry. It's all coming from that byproduct of the meat industry. Okay, this might be for Paris, can you enter more than one category? This anonymous person has both apparel and shoes.
That's amazing. And whilst I wouldn't say do not enter both, the brief does say kind of adding a single item in either one of the categories. And of course, also worth mentioning, which we didn't say before, making sure there's no kind of fur or exotic skins or anything like that. Again, no plastics where possible. We're really trying to move away from synthetics. But again, I wouldn't discourage it. I think it's worth doing. Obviously, we want everyone to have an equal chance. And if you feel you've got equally two amazing designs and they don't clash in the same category, then I think you are more than welcome to.
Can students enter international and UK, or just one? And if a student is international but studying in the UK?
Yes, so that's an amazing question. So again, this gives me an opportunity to let you all know that basically if you enter any of the regional competitions, whether that be UK, Nordic, China mainland, you will automatically be entered into the international competition. So you have 2 chances to win, which is incredible. And again, I think if you're an international student based in the UK or vice versa, that's absolutely fine. You definitely meet the criteria. But if you are confused and you want just a little bit more information, definitely double check the T's and C's. Definitely get in touch with our team. Again, that's info@chooseyourleather.com. Anything that you need, you will find on the website. I should have mentioned this earlier, but we do also have kind of a FAQs or support page. So I promise you'll find everything you need to know. But yes, to answer that question, you definitely meet the criteria and that should be absolutely fine.
Can I jump on that one? Sorry. Hi, Jane. Jane was my BA teacher in Northampton.
A friend of mine as well. Hi, Jane.
So just to note on that, yeah, so I just entered on the UK, but obviously I'm from Hungary, but I was studying in London. So I entered to the UK competition by going to the international automatically. So yeah.
Brilliant. Hi, Jane. Right, Amok Stefan. Okay, I can help with this one. Hello, I saw that the competition can be focused on commercial designs. Is that really important? As I'm working with offcuts, and sadly, it is quite hard to create quick commercial designs with them. We love that you're working with offcuts. It really does champion exactly what we're trying to do here by utilizing every part of the hide from that food waste. So we did have Gal Benjamin, who was our winner last year. Gal's winning design was a pair of trousers, and he had actually worked with offcuts. He had managed to put them all together, and they weren't exactly the correct shape for everything, but that whole trouser did come from offcuts. We have specific entries that focus on very random pieces of offcuts that are all put together. It is just one design that we're really focusing on. So Paris, if you'd like to add into that, for me, it's really, really great for you to be doing something like this and to be thinking like this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Mike, you covered that perfectly. That's exactly what we're looking for. Again, it champions exactly what we're doing. So I think using offcuts is the best example. So please do feel free. It doesn't have to be commercial. Again, Gal won, so that goes to show anything is on the table here. We really want you to be as creative as possible and show us something that is out of the box. So please do use offcuts 100%. That's absolutely fine.
Adrien, how can you interpret this? Obviously, somebody wanting to use offcuts, but they're suggesting that it might be difficult to create something quickly.
Yeah, I would say, what's this word commercial? If you're designing something to be sold as couture as one item, that's commercial because you're aiming towards a one-off item. What is commercial? You're making something special. You're making something people will want. You can't replicate it easily. That's wonderful. So don't limit yourself with that word commercial.
And actually, the tanneries are working with offcuts as well. The tanneries, I believe, I'm not 100% on this, but maybe you can help me, Adrien. I believe that the tanneries do offer offcuts to students, a lot of them.
Well, a lot of tanneries sponsor students as well. So you've only got to ask. And I find that the supply chain is really amazing with students. They love to give things away. They love to support students. They love to support competitions. So find the tanneries and ask them for what you want. And if you want offcuts, I'm sure they'd love it.
Brilliant. Okay, moving on to another question. I'm graduating in 2024. Can I participate in the international competition if I am a second year?
Absolutely. All of our competitions are open to current students as well as recent graduates within 1 year. So you'd absolutely be able to enter the competition.
And Anna says, does the final piece have to physically be made or just designed? Samples included.
So I can definitely answer this question. Your design doesn't have to be physically made. One of the prizes, which I should have mentioned earlier, is that if you do make it as a finalist and you end up being the overall winner, we will professionally make your item, which is incredible. And that will be done in Milan. So you know that's going to be the best only. So yeah, that's an exciting thing that we can offer you guys. But if it is physically made, that's equally just as amazing. But you will still get that prize of an additional version of your item.
And Anna, if you would like to, I mean, it could be very valuable for us as judges to see how you're interpreting a final product to be made. You can maybe do a miniature of your piece. You could work with draping. You could do certain sections of it, but perhaps would replicate what you're trying to get across to us, because that does give us a bit of a physical element, which will help with your entry standing out in front of everybody. Marta is asking about sheepskin. Obviously, we do have part of the requirement, which is for cow hides. So I would suggest that if it is not one or the other, but it could be both. Paris, could you jump in here? I've been told by Marta that it is common for apparel to use shearling and sheepskin nappa. That is very correct. Also for cowhide, Paris will jump in.
Yeah. So whilst we do ask it to be at least 50% cowhide, I will not say that you'll be kind of put aside if that's what you choose to use in terms of sheepskin. Again, that might be just one of our team. When the judges look at it, we may just contact you, and it could be something that we could easily kind of change in terms of what the leather is. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. If your design is outstanding, we will not discourage that. But again, I do have to clarify that it cannot be kind of exotic skins. It can't have fur, but things that are very similar in terms of sheepskin or shearling, I think that's fine to say, please do still share your design. We would definitely still judge it. And if it is an issue, which I don't think so, we can definitely just get in touch with you and see what we can do to support your design and make sure that when it gets to the final, that it's in line with all of our competition guidelines.
And it would be great to know why it is that you're using that particular fabric or that particular material. Again, you could do that in the video entry, or you could do it within your digital portfolio. Great. I think we are very well on time. We're coming to the end of our questions now, but you can always touch base with Choose Real Leather. Right, that being our last question, I would like to wrap up this webinar with a huge thank you to our guest speakers and to you, our audience, for taking the time to join us. Remember, our competition still currently is open in China mainland. This one is closing June 10th. Following this, we have the Nordic region, the UK and international competitions, they close June 30th. And finally, the latest edition, the Philippines competition, set to close July 14th. So what are you waiting for? Hurry and enter. If you would like to support us on our socials, please check out our Instagram account at Choose Real Leather. That's at Choose Real Leather, where you will be able to see any information in regards to our competitions. Again, thank you to all of our panel. Thank you all for being with us today. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And you.
Ciao.
Bye.